development? Well, it looks like you're showing. Welcome back to your new daddy, Alan Cox.
On WMMS.
I got another $1,000 here for in about 7 or 8 minutes. We also got some hot celebrity goss, courtesy of one Perez Bilton. Filled to the brim today. Holy cow. I'll have the next Buzzard bike key for you around 4:50 if you're trying to get your grubby little mitts on this brand new Harley that MMS and Budweiser are giving away. 4:50 is going to be the key that I will have for you today. Every morning, Rover does a key and then tells you when Stansbury and I will be giving ours out. So listen for that. But 4:50 is going to be the one I've got coming up. Norm is in Detroit. Hello, Norm.
How are you doing?
What's
Hi,
up?
Alan. How are you?
What's up, man?
And again, I don't want to get, I guess, super political, but to Mary's point, Rover had, on Rover's show, and I guess take it for what it is, but Dieter was hosting the aftermath and had someone call in, or he didn't have someone call in, somebody did call in and said that they were voting for Trump because of this incident, and they hadn't voted since like 2004 or something like that.
Listen, I'm not saying those people aren't out there. That's an utterly ridiculous reason to vote for someone if you haven't voted previously in whatever. I'm not saying those people aren't out there. All I'm saying is this notion that, well, it's all over because of this is ludicrous.
Oh, I agree 1,000%. But it's pretty scary the amount of people that don't have the foresight to see down the road. And
well, not everybody thinks the same way. I listen, I know what I believe. I'm a progressive person. I vote for progressive candidates. I fully understand why people love Donald Trump. It's not for me. I think he represents, and not an opinion, just by things that he has said, just by things that his cohort have said, things that J.D. Vance, who you might know from Vance Refrigeration, have said over the years, that I think represent a danger to the country. Now, people who like him think the exact same thing about Joe Biden. The trouble is, normally in the situation, we would be discussing policy differences, and that's not where we are. Yeah. So I'm in no way saying that that those people don't exist. The people Mary was talking about. Of course they do. Of course they do. But the notion that, well, hang it up because, I don't know. Thank you, Norm.
Yeah.
Norm's like, whatever.
I'm also not saying hang it up.
No, I know
I'm
you're not. I know
that, but what I am saying is if something doesn't change in the Democratic race soon, it will be a hang it up. I feel like we're on one more bad performance from Joe Biden, and it is over. One.
Well, there's
one
also
more.
My point in distinguishing him in a debate where they have filled his head. You know, he spent a week at Camp David.
And he was sick.
Well, sick too. But he spent a week at Camp David prior to the debate going over policy and going over things because that was his opportunity to tell the electorate, this is what I want for this country for the next term if I'm elected. Whereas Trump just has to stand there and volley, right? It's a lot easier. And yeah, Trump got some good lines off because Joe had a hell of a night. It's a lot easier to play defense than offense in a situation like that. Now, you compare that to when Biden's on the road and he's talking to a big crowd of people and he's getting riled up. That is the guy that people wanted to see at the debate. But when he's out there talking to people, and listen, nobody's arguing that both of these guys are way too old to be in this, you know. But I think that there is, when people talk about like, well, the election to watch is 2028 because you're going to have Gavin Newsom and you're going to have Gretchen Whitmer and you're going to have Josh Shapiro and you're going to have all these rising stars in the Democratic Party, except just judging from what we've seen, if Trump's reelected, I don't think it's hyperbole to say there might not be a 2028 election. He didn't want to leave last time. So what? All of a sudden he's like, I think I'm down with our system of checks and balances. So they need to let Kamala Harris get out there and do her thing, because she's no dummy. And I don't know. I have zero answers. I'm just saying that people who look at a picture of him not getting killed and go, boy, that guy looks tough. You know,
I'm laughing because that's exactly what's happening.
No, I understand. But I don't think that there is a massive wave of people who feel that way. Again, he has not seen a bump in his polling.
What does that mean?
That's what they were hoping for. They wanted to see the result of what you're talking about.
Okay, I mean, like, how does that happen?
What do you mean, how does that
They send out an email and they're like, who are you voting for? Like, how do these numbers come about?
Well,
From Saturday when this happened to today, or
of
whenever
course
it happened, how does that number get judged in the last 48 hours?
Because polling companies do polling constantly. This time of year and this far along in an election year, they're doing.
How?
What do you mean how?
How do they do polling?
They call people.
I was going to say email, phone. Like, how does this work? I've never received one like this.
Well, they're all over the place. I mean, any internet poll you take, normally the internet polls are being sent out by the respective parties. You know, that's why a lot of the online polls, they're like very leading. They're like, you know, do you are you a fan of President Trump? Or do you think Joe Biden should be killed? You know, it's like, it's a real Hobson's choice, you know, but. So I get nonstop spam. Do we all get nonstop political spam? I mean, you donate to one or two candidates and your information goes around, and I get nonstop Trump spam. Now, I thought at first, like, maybe my sister signed me up for something to troll me.
I don't get it
or
for
whatever.
Trump. I don't get
I do.
I
so
don't.
either somebody in my family's trolling me and they put my email address in everywhere. But I get a lot of Trump spam. But all you do there, you know, you text stop or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. But nobody has any answers. That's why people are so nervous. That's why a lot of people in the aftermath of that attempt on him, I think genuinely kind of felt numb. Because I was reading an article, they were like, we're in a new era of political violence. And I'm like, if you look at history, we're actually doing pretty well. I mean, given where the temperature of the electorate is, and again, people are right when they say if you weren't on social media and weren't watching the news, you'd never know any of this stuff was going on because it's not how normal everyday people are having conversations. But the stuff is out there, and it is happening, and it is part of life. And not paying attention to what people say they want to do if they win is at your own peril. Because these people aren't, if you're a progressive, the people that you're trying to withhold this office from, they're not being shy about it. You know, at the RNC, they're like, there's no part of our platform that says we won't go for a federal abortion ban. It's all out there. You don't have to engage in conjecture. You don't have to put words in people's mouths if you don't like the right side of the aisle. You don't have to do that. It's all out there. We think Bibles should be in public schools. We think women should be brood mares for the state. We think X, Y, and Z. And on the other side, there's people who are like, I don't want to have to worry about pronouns, you know, that kind of stuff. So everybody obviously has got something. It just seems to me that if paying attention to what people say they want to do, if they win, might be worth your time.
But I think that's also what puts people in the middle. I think that seeing a showman and seeing someone perform and seeing someone carry themselves in the way that Donald Trump carries himself is very likable. And then listening to what he says, and you're like, well, I don't like that, but I like him as whatever. I like the way that this guy is. I like his moxie, right?
Yeah, but
he's a much more likable person in that way.
Showmanship over actual policy. I understand that's the easy road because you're right. You look and you go, oh, look at that guy. But then you got to know what he stands for. You have to understand whoever you're going to vote for, right? Politics begins at home. all politics is local. That's the old axiom. That's why I vote in every election. I vote in school board elections. I vote in judge elections. I vote in, because that's where all that stuff starts. Everybody can vote for like the big ones, and you should. But, you know, I think that whoever, I would never vote for, just me, as me. I would never vote for somebody because they took a good picture or because they put their fist up or because I'm like, what do you stand for?
It doesn't matter to people. I really don't think.
Well, when you say it doesn't matter to people, I'm people. It matters to me. It matters to a lot of people.
You are in a small percentage
not small.
of people.
I don't know why you keep saying small.
You're not. You don't even know where the second half of this sentence is going. I think that you are in a small percentage of people in a lot of categories where you will make a bigger, broader blanket statement. And Bill and I will be like, nobody thinks like that.
I don't know what you mean by,
that.
I'll repeat myself. I don't know what you mean by small. There are all kinds of people who understand how a particular policy will potentially affect their life.
She's not even talking about just policy. She's talking about.
I'm saying in general.
In general, just
sometimes
statements you make
things,
on a regular basis.
And you're like, everybody does that, or
like,
nobody does that.
No.
And we're all like, what are you talking about?
Well, first off, I'm goofing because I know how I am. So if I say everybody or nobody, I certainly hope you know I'm kidding around.
Okay, in cases where you
but
haven't
but we're also not talking about general statements.
I know.
We're talking about this.
Right. We are
Me
talking
eating
about
apple
this.
cores has nothing to do
Sure.
with my thoughts on progressive policy.
But I think that as a person,
Whatever, socialist.
Listen, there is
trying to
give
spread
half of
those
that apple core. Give half of that apple core to someone who needs it, Alan.
There is a reason why people like Bernie Sanders and AOC are behind Joe Biden. Whereas under normal circumstances, they have, even Bernie, he wrote this op-ed in the New York Times. He's like, look, I think Joe Biden, is he ideal? No. Is he a good guy? Yes. Is he behind the policies that we are trying to further as progressives in this country? Yes,
And
he is.
I know you want to believe that a large number of people think that way.
I'm not putting numbers. You keep putting numbers on things. I'm not putting numbers on anything. The only point I'm trying to make is that I think there is a larger percentage of people who really don't care. Right, you're putting the numbers on it. You're saying
you're
saying there's a larger portion. I'm not assigning portions to anybody. I'm simply saying that I certainly hope that people would not resign themselves to being undecided or day of. What my thought is always is find something that matters to you and then find out which one of those people. Because what was the complaint for so long? And it was an understandable complaint. It was, doesn't matter what party, they're all the same. And obviously there's no small amount of corruption and all that stuff in both parties. Donald Trump, of course, has turned that into a sport. You know, he's made the country for sale. But now the candidate, nobody says that anymore because the candidate couldn't be more different. But find an issue that matters to you, work backwards, reverse engineer it, and then figure out, well, which guy believes what I believe. And for a lot of people, it's going to, and not everybody's going to check off every box with one guy. But I always think of the phrase, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. The people who go, well, we can't get everything, so we throw our arms up. Man, everything is about getting some of what you want. Some of what you want. And so I don't know. But I don't see, I can't envision this massive swath of the country looking at these two people and just sleepless nights. I can't figure it out. Which way am I going to go?
It's not that, though. It's well, show me before November which way I'm going to go. Because
what do you mean?
After the debate, I like the things Biden was saying. I don't like how he presented them. Right? Maybe that's what they're like, okay, I still like those things. And then after the assassination attempt, it's, I like how he handled himself in a moment of crisis. That's a quality I like in a leader.
Yeah, but you know what else was a moment of crisis? Was the pandemic.
Yeah, but that's so far long ago. But like
Trump took a big old crap on that.
And again, we're so far away from the election. that
No, I know.
a lot of people, there's going to be so much that happens, and it's like debating it right now. Like, yes, there are people that saw that and like, oh, that's why I'm going to vote for him now. But I don't think it's as big as number as anybody thinks, and there's still a lot that can happen.
Everything moves so quickly, and things happen so fast.
Get
And
turned up in the news cycle. There's just so much. So like
this could
going
happen
back and forth over this. Like we're gonna be like if. I doubt this will end up in a best of, but if it were,
this is the best of.
if it were to end up in a best of, like after the election, everybody would be like, oh, they were talking about that wasn't that.
Yeah,
there was so
Yeah, but the
much
only reason
happens.
why this is so heated right now is because of what happened on Saturday.
I understand
I mean, when's the
that.
last time we had this in-depth of a conversation about politics?
Not
It's
only
like
that,
we're doing this all the time.
when was the last time? I mean, in American history, when was the last time Reagan? It's been a long time since something. It's a big deal that something like this happened. And listen, I've gone off on. I didn't mean to get off on. Let's get to some hot goss.
This
Give you
is
some
your
money.
chance to bet with the Buzzard bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
This is Hot Celebrity Gossip with Perez, Bilton. Ooh.
What's up, my goss guzzlers? Step to the left and get a nice hot face full of goss. All right, MGK is in the news because he had a dentist give him fangs. He said he's been going to this dentist for years and has finally convinced him to give him fangs to make him look more intimidating and like a vampire. And according to inside sources, that is MGK's plan, to become a vampire so that he can be CLE even after he dies.
Oh, yeah. Faux shiz, faux shiz.
Jack Black and Tenacious D have canceled the tour. You probably heard about this. Kyle Gass, who's in the band with him, made a joke on stage in the moment, and there's been tremendous backlash, and so Jack Black said they're canceling the rest of the tour, and he's putting all his creative projects on hold for the foreseeable future. According to inside sources, Mary Santora is never been happier.
Oh, yeah. Faux shiz, faux shiz.
And finally, the home run derby last night was marred by a marred by a terrible performance of the national anthem by Ingrid Andress, who I don't think anybody had ever really heard of before last night.
It's got a bunch of Grammy nominations. It's a big deal.
I had never heard of her. Let's hear this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed by the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air,
People booing?
gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This seems fake.
I purposely didn't listen to it all day because I wanted to hear it for the first time.
It's so bad.
That seems fake.
So she posted today that she was drunk and she's checking into rehab and she's going to take care of this alcoholism problem. But according to inside sources, maybe you need to check into singing lessons.
Oh, God. That's a country artist for you.
This is hot celebrity gossip with Perez, Bilton. Ooh.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's bad.
I wish someone had shot my ears off during that. I like how they start clapping because she's done, not because they're, wow. Yeah, she said she's drunk. She was drunk.
Yeah.
She's from Detroit, but she was just here at Blossom. She comes through.
I never heard of her before.
She did
last
that.
night,
She had a
and
big
it was-
hit. She had a song called "Wishful Drinking," and it was a big, big hit. And she tours with who? Mary would know the people she tours with, like Sam
I don't
Hunt
know who
and.
she tours with.
Have you ever heard of Ingrid Andrews?
Yeah, no, I've heard of her, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not a fan.
Yeah.
That was painful, dude.
That was so
was
bad.
really bad.
I
I feel like I could do better than that.
You probably
I'm
could.
the world's worst singer.
Yeah. Jack Black really freaked out too on Kyle Gass.
Give a shit, and I've been sitting around getting sick of your attitude, you f***er, you f***ing bitch.
He did not take it well.
Is that real?
Yeah, Mary, I just played it. It's real.
You don't give a shit, and I've been sitting around getting sick of your attitude, you f***er, you f***ing bitch.
Mm-hmm. You heard it with your ears.
Did.
It's real. All right, I'm going to break. Hey, I got that Buzzard bike